Hey everybody, I'm Rick Berk and I'm back again to offer you some more tips on how to improve your photography. Today we're going to talk about improving the skies in your landscape photographs. A good sky can complete a great landscape image. As a landscape photographer, I often walk around checking out the sky to see if it's going to be something exciting that I want to shoot. A good sky can add depth and drama and provide the exclamation point needed on an image. A landscape image with a good sky is kind of like a hot fudge sundae, while an image with an average sky might still be okay, but it's kind of like ice cream without the hot fudge and the whipped cream and the cherry on top. A bad sky can ruin an otherwise good image. Often there can be a dramatic difference between the foreground of an image and the sky itself, or there may be a haze in the sky that's causing the image to appear flat. Today I'm going to show you a few fairly simple techniques to help you improve the skies in your images. All the techniques I'm going to show you require the use of one or more filters on camera. I'm currently using the View Scion filter system. View provides a complete system that takes care of all of my in-camera filtering needs. As I show you these techniques, I'll show you which filters I'm using and I'll explain how to use each one. And while there are some Photoshop techniques that will allow you to simulate some of these effects, you'll still need to ensure that you somehow capture the detail in the sky. If you blow out the sky because it's very bright, there's no getting that detail back. By the same token, if you drastically underexpose the foreground, you're not going to be able to get back the detail in the shadow areas. Yes, there are some compositing techniques and HDR photography, things like that you could use, but personally I would rather be out taking more pictures instead of sitting in front of my computer editing. My general workflow per image normally only takes a minute or two. If I find an image is going to take longer than that, I generally put it aside and then I never get back to it. Have you ever taken a photo of an otherwise gorgeous landscape only to have the sky look washed out and dull? In this case, we're looking in an area very near to where the sun is in the scene, and it's washing out that sky. This is a classic Yosemite scene, but the overexposed sky makes the scene look a lot less impressive. Have you ever taken a photo where the exposure difference was so great that either the foreground or the background was improperly exposed? In this scene along the California coast, the foreground is in shadow and much darker than the background, which is in direct sunlight. That brighter area really draws your eye away from the entire scene. Have you ever taken a photo where the haze in the air made the sky appear washed out? In places with lots of airborne moisture, such as the beach or where there is smog, the sky won't appear quite as blue and again it'll look flat and your image will lack impact. But sometimes you get issues with both high contrast and haze. How do you correct for that? Let's start with one issue at a time. First issue we're going to tackle is probably also the easiest one to solve. So let's talk about making skies bluer by reducing haze. This is a 77mm View Scion Slim polarizer, and a polarizer should be the first filter in every photographer's camera bag. Polarizers work by filtering out sunlight, which has been directly reflected towards the camera at specific angles. Essentially, if you point the camera 90 degrees from the sun, you're going to get the best effect of polarization in your image. If you make a reverse L with your thumb and your forefinger, and you point your forefinger at the sun, anywhere you turn your thumb, as long as you keep your forefinger pointed at the sun, you're going to get the best effects of polarization in your image that way. In this video, you can see that I'm rotating the polarizer, and this helps reduce the haze in the sky and really makes the sky's deep blue look a little bit more impressive. You'll also notice that the color of the building changes because I'm changing the way the light is reflected off it by polarizing some of it. And you'll also notice that the windows change as well. This gives me the ability to really take this iconic building in New York City and put it up against a nice clear blue sky and really make it a more interesting shot than just the washed out sky that I have. In this scene here, I was walking through a sunflower field and I noticed this bunch of flowers against the blue sky, and it really was an interesting scene to me. But this is an unpolarized image. I hadn't put the polarizer on my camera yet, and the sky's a little bit washed out. The color's a little flat on both the flowers and the leaves on the flowers, and it's lacking something to me. So what I did was I added my polarizing filter, and I was able to get this. This is a partially polarized image. I rotated the filter about halfway through to get this image. You can see the sky's a little bit deeper blue. The flowers have a little bit better color on them. It's a little bit more interesting this way. With full polarization, you can see how much deeper I made the sky in this shot while still maintaining a gentle gradation, but also the yellow on the sunflowers really pops and become more vibrant. And the leaves on the flowers also become much deeper green and more vibrant. Keep in mind there will be a change in exposure depending on how the scene is and how much polarization you apply. So you'll notice there's about a 1/3 change in exposure from one shot to the next in this scene. The amount of polarization used is really up to the photographer. You want to rotate the filter until you get the amount of polarization you want, and you'll judge this by using the live view on your LCD screen, or you'll look through the viewfinder to judge when you've applied enough polarization. You'll see it change before you take the picture, which is really nice. On the right, you can see the washed out image. Then you can see in the center the partially polarized image, and then the really nice fully polarized image with the nice popping color on the left there. In this image, I was walking through Great Smoky Mountains National Park in one of the valleys, and it was a misty morning. Mist was hanging low in the valley, which was really kind of cool, but it really flattened out the scene and really changed the color and muted it a little bit. So I wanted to reduce that mist and haze and try and get deeper, richer colors out of this. So this image with no polarization really didn't do it for me. As I added a polarizing filter to my lens and went for full polarization, you can see how I was able to cut through some of the mist and add a deeper blue to the scene, and also get some richer colors both out of the sky and also out of the leaves that are on the tree. Notice that I'm 90 degrees from the sun. The sun was rising to my left over the mountains, and because of that, I was able to get the full effect of polarization in this scene. So how do you know what the right amount of polarization is? You want to be careful of over-polarizing. With wide-angle lenses especially, it's possible to overuse the polarizer, where you'll get these dark patches of blue areas in the sky which can look unnatural. In this shot here at Arches National Park, you can see that deep blue patch right over Delicate Arch, and it's really kind of unsightly and unnatural looking. If this happens, you just want to rotate the polarizer back a little bit so that it reduces that dark blue patch and evens out the sky a little bit.